Well, hello. Welcome to another episode of Shelf Life. I think this is number 14. 13? I think it's 14. I'm not sure. It will say it correctly on the thumbnail. But it's 13 or 14. I'm not sure. It's December. It's the end of the year. I got all my notes. Today's going to be kind of chill. Let's see. I kind of just jumped into this. I just hit record and let's see what's going on. Right when the spin cycle for the laundry starts going off, I'm like, yeah, that's perfect recording time. So, how has this week been with reading? Let's see. Oh, also, I'm at like 99 subscribers at YouTube. 99. That's amazing. It's like a little over 3 months screwing around talking about weird books. But I see you people, recurring viewers that aren't subscribed. So, and I'm going to say it here at the beginning when people are still watching. You need to subscribe to this channel. If you watched more than a minute and a half of this, why are you subscribed to this? You read weird books. Let's go. Come on. Let's be homies. Anyways, thank you. Um let's see. Okay, my recurring views, sub. There we go. I'm going to go straight down the notes. Right there. Journaling. We're going to talk about journaling here at the bottom. Journaling and talking into the mic consistently. All right. Bookmarks. I've mentioned the bookmarks here before. Here, let's take them out. I got to figure out how to do this without it holding right here. Here, let's do a test. I have a feeling it's not going to sound that good. Let's do a test while I showcase some stuff. Here's the bookmarks. Here's one I did because this is the Count. It's a French book, so I thought it would only be appropriate to have a guillotine in there. But because I'm also a proponent of having two bookmarks when there's endnotes, here's my second bookmark. I painted them both. They're both watercolors. I've talked about posting them up on eBay, what have you, and then I didn't. But so a couple people in the comments said, "Hey, what's going on with the bookmarks?" And yesterday I ordered some sleeves, so it's actually not just a piece of paper when I ship it to someone, but I am going to put them up if anyone wants them. They'll be probably like $10. So in the future, that's to come. I started using the paperweight. I thought that was kind of genius. I do some reading on a table and like in on like a book, a toolbox shelf. I put my book there sometimes, and I just leave it laying flat. And the tunnel specifically just closes up on me because I'm not a natural spine breaker. They just break from the weight of themselves. I don't crank them. That's fun on the count, but I just don't find myself doing that. Excuse me. But I did start putting like a block of metal right in the middle of the page. I'm like, oh, that's super convenient. That just holds the page right there. I'm like, oh, paperweight? Like, that's why people have paperweights because they're extremely useful when you read a lot. So that was pretty cool. Um, Another thing I've been thinking of making is some bookends. I have some spots throughout my house that are just like they're not bookshelves, but they'd be cool little spots. And I have a whole bunch of angle iron. So I'm thinking about just cutting like a section that's, I don't know, like the width of this and just have some some angle iron bookends right there. Put a little stoppies on the bottom so they don't slide. Maybe I'll make some of those. We'll see. Things that are just popping in my head. Oh, for this channel, Off to a great start. Let's see. The future, the schedule for the end of the year. Like I said, it's December, it's the end of the year. I think December 29th, it's going to be the last one of the year. I'm going to do like a yearly review, like my 10 best books of the year, or what did I do this year that I liked. I don't know. We'll see. What have I covered on this page this year? That's going to be a fun year end wrap up. I don't know. Like when I started this, is it 14? Is it 13? Is it 15? Is it 20? Is it 47? I don't know. We might stop numbering the shelf lives. We'll see. I don't know how I feel about that. What do you guys think? Does that matter at all? And some other fun changes. I've been thinking about doing like I talked about going outside, doing a episode of Shelf Life outside. I think that could be fun, but we could just keep Shelf Life how it is, and maybe we'll add a second show. I already kind of have the name in progress. I'm not going to reveal it. I'm going to leave some tension right there. There might be another show. Well, we'll do a pilot. We're going to do a pilot for another book related show, but Shelf Life is kind of has its structure, and this is what it is, and we don't need to muddy that up, do we? So there we go. So that's some fun things to think about for the year coming up. The schedule, what's going to happen? Just wintertime, thinking seasonally. That needed to happen. I got slammed this week with snow. I was not expecting it. All of a sudden, I got a text from my wife saying like, "Hey, did you know that we're getting like 5 inches tonight?" And I was not prepared. I did not have gas for the snowblower, and that was still hanging out in the shed, and I haven't pulled it yet. And yeah, then that happened, and then driving in, it was a complete mess, and the whole week now the house is just full of snow things and piles of clothes and like power went out for half the town. So New England should have known better, but came early this year. Um, let's see. But yeah, living seasonally that screwed up my whole schedule with reading. I don't like run. I used to just push through. I used to just like, oh well, it snowed. Who cares? David Goggins asked. But now it's like, all right, well, maybe it's not smart for you to be running out in the dark with like just reflectors on. Like, figure it out. So I had to figure it out and rearrange a whole bunch of stuff and use my Mad Max treadmill, and that's going to be how we do things continuing forward. So we're thinking about those seasonal changes. We were also thinking about seasonal changes for the show and my schedule and when things happen. So thank you for dealing with me, and thank you for subscribing. Moving on. I'm still on the same books. I'm still reading Meditations in my phone. I am here. There's two. There's two. So we're gonna pick one and we're gonna discuss it. We're gonna start with The Tunnel. Let's get it. The Tunnel. I have been following. I've been reading this, and I've been listening to the audio on YouTube, chapter by chapter, and I'm on page 291. This book is bizarre. It has thus far a loose scattering of a plot. I guess it's more of a glimpse into a life, and it's more of a mood right now. Excuse me with all the throat sounds. But the tunnel, it's it's cringy. It's written beautifully. Like Gas is he's a madman. It's just rambling delirium. I really like it, but we're paying attention. We're paying real good attention. Um, it gives me the same feeling as when I watch Hoarders. The the dust feeling and uh the grimy room and the ammonia feel like, but it's with thoughts. It's like the yeah, the high level of cringe factor for thoughts. Like, you have these thoughts, and it's like I can't believe you said these certain things, or like you really feel that kind of way. Revelatory, um, is what this book's reading like. It reminds me of like watching Hoarders. Like I don't want to watch this anymore, but I'm going to watch the whole thing. um, Following it along on audio is nice because the book's not broken up really into chapters. It's kind of like Infinite Jest, where it's like there's like a dot, or there's like one section where it's like real big lettering, Mad Meg. All right, like I guess you could parse that, but I like chapter one, chapter two, chapter nice and easy. Like the Lillo, that was great. Like here's this much, next chapter. Here's this much, next. I like that. I don't know what it is, something in my head that works for me. But I've been listening to it on audio, but I'm at a point where like I sped it up and then I sped it up again, and then like all week I mainly listen to it at 1.5, but today I put it on 2. No problem. Like I'm gonna be rocking this thing at 2 now. Like so, what I've been doing is I think I'll be able to finish the tunnel by the end of the month if I do like one of these chapters a day. So I'm doing that, and there's probably going to be like 5 days that I have to do double chapters. But I think I can. I think I can finish that in the month. So that's the tunnel. It's giving me Hoarder vibes. It is getting. It's more. Things are starting to piece together. Uh, you're getting a better overview of what's happening, but it's still it's bizarre. It really is bizarre, and it is insanely dense. I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm going to reread it at some point. I can already tell, but this is just my shaky coast through. It's when I read like this, it's kind of like you take a new truck and you're gonna tear down this trail, and you're kind of just hope nothing breaks. Like that's you're not really out there enjoying the ride. It's like hold together. That's what this read is like, and I'm enjoying it. But it's like watching Hoarders. For your thoughts and the, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that's an accurate analogy? Like I thought that, and I'm like, I gotta write that down. So we'll revisit that next week. Now, let's see. On the next part of the notes, the count. The count is awesome, and I'm just reading this old school analog, and I have really been enjoying it. However, there was a day this week that I couldn't have my big stinky brick. So what I did do, I did download it on iBooks, and I read a few chapters stealthily of the same book. I don't think it's the same translation, but it was kind of trippy reading the same book. Like I completely prefer this one. This is my reader's copy. And I like the size of this, the shape of this, the print of it, the paper. I really like this book. I'm going to get more of these Penguin classics. This is a good one. But having it on my phone, that was just wildly convenient. That's like you just have it on you no matter what all the time, and there's nothing getting in the way. I think it's a little. Let's see, what page am I on? I'm on 283 of that one. I think it's very ambitious to think that I would finish that by the end of the year, but I do have time off around the holiday, so I might hyper binge myself at the end of the year. But why? The count is so good. Like I don't know, but who knows? I might wind up being radically impulsive one day and just that's it. We're gonna chunk this thing out, and I don't know. I also might, have time off and not read it all, and then I'll talk about books that I read earlier in the year, so I can have a break. I don't know, but those are my main books right now. It's The Count and The Tunnel, and a little bit of Meditations. I barely touched that this week, but it's again in the phone for those stealth days. In other news and books, let's see, where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. So I didn't post a video of my jubilance and excitement at my find the other day. I don't like buying books all the time just because, money and minimalism and curating a shelf. There's books here that I haven't read. I think I talked last week how I did the height. I read these, I didn't read these. So I do have a list of books that in passing or in finding I'll snag if the price is right, or if you know, I like hunting them instead of just I know I can go to this store and they're definitely going to have it, or I know I can go to this website and it could definitely have. I like it. I like the universe to just be like, here you go, boop, here's a little present for you, and boy did it deliver. I went to the dump to throw away the family garbage, and I did this after the snowstorm when everything's totally frozen, and it was like 7 o'clock in the morning the next day, and I'm like, nobody's going to be at the dump that early. They're all going to wait till 9 till 11, and then it's going to be a complete mess. So you're going to go now when it's freezing, and that is when nobody has been into the swap shed, and this is a place on the side of the dump where people put stuff that they don't really want, but it's not ruined, like like bikes. Like the bike's fine, but get this out of my house. It's a little community area, and you poke around, you find some cool stuff in there. And I turned around and boom, the bell jar. Sylvia Plath. This has been on my list for a long time, and I just knew in crossing I'm going to come across one, and then boom, the price was right, free. So this wonderful surprise right there. Thank you, Stafford Transfer Station. Exceptional. The dump find. So I couldn't wait to tell you guys about my dump find. What else do we have? Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Let's see. We were talking about. Okay. I had reading tips in here. And I was thinking about doing. Someone asked me for a couple of reading tips with the David Foster Wallace, how to get through it. And you just got to commit to reading it because it's going to take reading. And I am not a proponent of summarizing or skipping chapters or any of that. So if you want to read a big old book, you need to sit your butt down and you need to look at the pages and you need to read it or listen to it. However you're capable of consuming the content, that you need to put in the work. And that's kind of what that book's all about. But in general, I think you need to have your book on you if you want to get through it. Like I carried this thing around, the Count of Monte Cristo. I carry that thing around, and I now have it on my phone, so I always have it with me. So it's always an option. It's always within reach. It's always accessible. Number two, bookmarks. I like bookmarks. Why? Number one, I make them because they're fun and they're quick and they're easy to do. Number two, I get lost on the page, especially if it's a big book and I start reading over here and then I get all the way over here on this side and then I'll come back and I'll be like, what line? Where was I on? I also like to just look line by line, line by line, line by line, line by line. I'm if I'm reading and I'm not supposed to be reading, I got that bookmark on that line. Boom! I shut the book. I know exactly where I am. I know exactly where I am talking to the microphone. None of this confusion. Where are we going from here? And another one, comfort. You need to be comfortable. That's what the paperweight's all about. I don't have to hold the book. Uh, the the book lamp, great, exceptional, especially on an airplane or in bed when you got other people that aren't into you having all the lights on. Get spend some money. Go ahead, treat yourself on a $10 book light. That's cool. I like that. I'm pro book. If it's gonna get a book in your hand, let's go. Let's do this. But yeah, comfort. Have your book, and be able to know where you are on the page. Critical. Somebody asked me a couple questions about eating books or eating books, eating while reading. No, I don't do that. I like to have my hands dry. I don't want to have a whole bunch of garbage all over the place. No, I'll eat. I like to be done eating. I can have a coffee. Coffee's nice. I'm not gonna lie, have a vape around every once in a while. Oh, I'm not perfect, not all the time, but vape and a coffee and a book, kind of can't beat that. That's like the perfect morning. And a peak coat. Whoa, where are we? But yeah, I don't like eat and read. I like to keep those separate. Actually, it's like I'll tell myself in my free time, you shouldn't be scrolling. You should be reading. And then like when I have a meal, it's like, oh well, you're having a meal. You can watch some YouTube for a while, or doom scroll or watch TV. Like when I'm eating, I don't want to be touching paper and worried with napkins and fluids all over. No, I keep them separate. Um, Annotate. Uh, I don't really have a firm grasp on what annotation is. All I know is it's about writing in your book, and I don't normally do this, not intentionally, but when I came back heavily to reading as a habit and as a hobby and a way to expand my knowledge, I did not want to turn this into homework, which apparently I have done. Anyways, here we are doing our weekly update and report. But annotations, I don't do it. I don't do the little flags. I would get lost in the weeds on buying all these things from Staples and having all the stationery that I need. And once I start one, then I'm going to have a whole bunch of them. I did entertain annotating. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this. I did entertain annotating. I think the crying. Where is my crying of lot 49? I don't know where it is. Hmm. I have my new one, my new older one. I don't know. I'm not gonna go crazy looking for it right now. But my first crying of lot 49, I read that on a plane and I underlined every single line because I didn't have a bookmark. So I just wanted to know where I was the whole time. And I will overdo it and I will overthink it. And it's like, you're supposed to be reading, man. Like, my thoughts need to be on the page. So I don't annotate. But I mean, maybe now with the tunnel and hearing some people talk about their techniques with annotations and how it's just supposed to be real concise and, you know, find it useful. But as for doing it now, no, I just read. I don't have to have a pen. I don't have to come back to anything. Nope. But that does kind of go hand in hand with I've been like annotation is a skill. I'm realizing it, and I've been going back to doing more journaling because I've been doing more writing and making the book content that kind of turns into making you should well if you're doing all this book stuff and author stuff and writer stuff it's like well you kind of just fall into it if you enjoy it and you haven't been doing it and you build little habits like my daily haikus and it's like well I want to write stuff in the journal and kind of have a system there and well that's analog should you be typing should you be doing this publicly so I've been trying to get through my own uh journaling systems and instead of annotate if I have a cool idea like oh I want to talk about this on shelf life like the hoarding thing with the tunnel I'll write it down in here and then at the end of the day I give myself a little word count to type up just to get like all right get this daily habit into my system like I'm writing more I'm reading more instead of scrolling more it's all about creating myself through using you guys are the tool the audience is the tool that's not what all this is for this whole creation is about self expansion self mastery and the the act of doing so that's what we're doing here and right now but the journaling going back to the analog that's what why we came back to reading anyway so why not do it with writing as well and then have this like cleansing process it's like a filtering it's like brain directly to notepad I got this little one too for when I go on walks brain to notepad brain to notepad do that throughout the day daily checklist workouts that goes in here random thoughts on books in here ideas for videos and shorts goes in here At the end of the day, I'll look through here, but then I'll give myself like a word count and like, all right, do 1,000. Way too ambitious for someone beginning. Too bit way too much off. Couldn't chew it. Knock it down to 200. Let's see this week. Can I do 200 every night? And then, at the end of the month, I'll probably go through that and be like, we got any gems here? Like, we'll see. Because I'll ramble. Do we have a theme? But it's like this filtration of thought. We'll see what this happens. But it's like uh, the war of art, like the muse. We're just going to pay our sacrifice, the doing and in the work. So let's see. I hope that answers the questions about eating and how I annotate. The bookmarks. Some people were talking about the bookmarks. They like my art. I'll save more art for another day because it's getting kind of late. I think also I'll be sharing books that are art related that I've found helpful, or I don't know, cool paint books. I don't know. We'll see. I got a lot of ideas in here, but that is it for Shelf Life this week. Thank you guys again so much. If you have any comments or suggestions or things you want me to cover, please let me know. Let me know what you're excited about. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Stay warm. Love you guys. I'm out.